Shad Mantra 13.
Yep.
Anyadevahu sambhavad.
Anyad ivahu sambhavad.
Anyadahur sambhavat.
Anyad ahur asambhavat.
Iti shushruma dhiranam.
Iti shushruma dhiranam.
Yenastad vichachakshire.
Yenastad vichachakshare. Anyad ivahu sambhavat.
Anyadevahu sambhavad.
Anyad ahur asambhavat.
Anyadahur sambhavat.
Iti shushruma dhiranam.
Iti shushruma dhiranam.
Yenastad vichachakshare.
Yenastad vichachakshire.
It is said that one result is obtained by worshipping the supreme cause of all causes, and that another result is obtained by worshipping what is not supreme. All this is heard from the undisturbed authorities who clearly explained it.
So there's so many concocted theories, which we call mental speculation, and people have many ideas. Oh, it doesn't matter what you worship, everyone goes to the same place. But that idea and many others are completely blown out of the water by these Vedic wisdom, which we hear from the Guru. So to explain, you want to understand the real truth, the real facts. You need to get it from a Vedic authority, which ultimately comes from Krishna, comes down through disciplic succession. So that's what we were reading a little bit about last week, about how you're going to get the real knowledge, the real truth is through disciplic succession. And Prabhupada just quoted a verse from Bhagavad Gita about that, Evam Parampara Praptam. And that's one of the reasons it says in that verse that why Krishna came to this earth 5,000 years ago, because the spiritual science of yoga, that knowledge became lost because the disciplic succession was broken. So as soon as the disciplic succession is broken, it means that the real truth, the tattva, is not passed on anymore. At that point, the people are just completely lost. They're in chaos. So, and Krishna feels responsible for that because obviously he's the Supreme Father. So like you, right? If all your children are suffering, you feel responsible. I can't allow that. I have to do my best to make my children happy. So all the living entities in the material order are his children. So if he sees they're all completely lost in sense gratification, forgot the goal of life to go back to Godhead, then he feels responsible. So as a Supreme Father, he comes to the earth to try to set things back on track, and re-establish Dharma. Dharma samstapanataya sambhavami yuga yuga. So he comes every yuga to re-establish the Dharma, which means the true religious principles, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, everything like that. Like in this verse is giving the Dharma that we should worship God. We shouldn't worship persons that are not God. If you worship persons that are not God, like demigods or ghosts or politicians or whatever, then you're going to go to some lesser destination like that. So these are some of the things. You want to say anything about any of those things from last week, Narendra?
Yeah, I think you summed up very nicely. I think what we did. The only thing is I want to ask is we don't have any guru. So Prabhupada is our basically.
Yeah. I mean, Prabhupada is there's two kinds of gurus. This one is the Shiksha Guru, instructing guru, and then there's a Diksha Guru. So you can have unlimited Shiksha Gurus, could be 50, 100, 1,000. Anyone that gives us good advice to help us advance spiritually. And Diksha Guru, you only have one, maybe one in your life or one at a time at least, no more than one at a time. And it's the one that they give you a name and you make vows. And that's like a ceremony that lasts for a couple of hours and you make vows and stuff. No meat, fish or eggs, and intoxication, illicit sex, gambling. They'll chant 16 rounds a day. And that's an ISKCON. Of course, in other sampradayas, they might have slightly different rules, but generally all sampradayas have, you know, pretty similar basic principles, and the four regulator principles and so forth, and they'll be chanting some mantras or doing puja or whatever, and then after that, you know, the Diksha Guru may give you some further knowledge and training, but many times, like now, especially in Kali Yuga, of course it was different before because you'd be living in the ashram of your guru, Gurukul. So you'd be living with the guru, and he would be your teacher and everything. Now, of course, you know, you might get initiated for 2 hours or whatever, and then he flies away to India, and you're in Australia, and maybe you write emails every now and again, or he comes once every 2 years or something. So it's not so much. So, but the main thing, even with the Diksha Guru and initiating guru, the main thing is that he's giving, and he is giving, or she giving instructions. You know, like what is the Diksha Guru saying? Chant 16 rounds every day. That's instruction. Don't eat meat. Don't have intoxication. That's instructions. So even the main thing there is the shiksha. Shiksha means instruction. So, and ultimately, who's given us the most instructions up till now, and then in the present, and then in the future, and that's Prabhupada. Even all the present gurus that can initiate, they're mostly disciples or grand disciples of Prabhupada. So that they took to the process because of Prabhupada. So he's like, his position is the founder acharya of ISKCON. Some Stapaka Acharya, it's called, founder acharya. So he established ISKCON. So it says his books that he wrote will be the law books for the next 10,000 years. That's the prediction. I mean, he himself said that his books, like Bhagavad Gita as it is, what we're reading, Isopanisad, Srimad Bhagavatam, like that, Chaitanya Charitamrita, will be the law books for humanity for the next 10,000 years. Because it said after 10,000 years, then the golden age of Lord Chaitanya is finished, and then Kali Yuga kicks back in. At that time, people won't follow Dharma; they'll just be very irreligious. But this books that he has given is the guiding light for devotees of Krishna for the next 10,000 years. So Prabhupada's position is very special. So we would say that whether you are initiated or you're not initiated, your main knowledge, instructions is coming from Prabhupada. And it's interesting, one time a devotee questioned Prabhupada that many people around the world are receiving your books, you know, disciples are distributing books, millions of books, and so they're getting your books, but many of those people probably in their life will never get initiated. And he said, I've read that without getting initiated, you can't go back to Godhead. The devotee had heard that from somewhere, or he'd read it, that without getting initiated, then you can't go back to Godhead. And then Prabhupada said to him, this is amazing, Prabhupada said to him, he said, anyone that reads my books is already initiated.
That makes sense, huh?
That's pretty far out, and it makes sense because anyone that's, you know, you pick up one of his books and you read it,
and you follow,
those divine instructions are coming to you. You're getting that shiksha that you're what does initiation mean? It means starting. Like you can initiate a new business. You can initiate a course. You know, you start a new course, you start a new business. You're initiating. It means you're beginning it. So that's just the beginning. So, but when you begin to get this knowledge, then you're initiated, you know, and then it goes into your heart. And I know a story that one man came to an end of a class. All he heard Prabhupada say was that if you chant 16 rounds of the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and follow the four regulated principles, no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling, I guarantee at the end of this life you will go back home, back to Godhead. And end of class. So he came in right at the end, that's all he heard. He went away from the temple. He never had any more association with the devotees. Years later, devotees were going door to door distributing books. They went to this guy's house, and guess what he was doing? He was chanting 16 rounds every day, had followed the four principles ever since when he heard Prabhupada say that. So just by hearing Prabhupada for 2 minutes, that set him on track. He followed those instructions. So that's what's up to us, how sincere we are. So the instructions are there for everyone, but whether you're going to take it to heart or whether you're not, but potentially that is going to be the beginning, once you hear from the guru. Now, whether you hear like physically, like someone's talking to you, or whether you hear it in the form of reading the book, but it really doesn't matter. The main thing is the instruction. If you have a physical person in front of you, like now, it's not what the body looks like or anything that's important, but it's the words, it's the instructions, that's the main thing. Or whether you get the same thing, from the recording from the book, like this class is recorded. So, someone later on, tomorrow, whatever, could listen to it, and it's really the same. I'm not physically there in person anymore, but the sound is the same. So the main thing is to get that sound vibration, and then it's up to us whether we're going to digest it, accept it, follow it like that, put into practice or not, so that's up to us. But that was interesting, that once you start this hearing process from Prabhupada or his followers, then in one sense you're already initiated. And then we hear that Prabhupada first met his guru in 1922, but he didn't get initiated until 1933, 11 years later. So the question is, when was Prabhupada initiated? Means when did he start the process, given by the guru? Was he initiated in 1933? Did it start then? Or was he initiated? That's when he got the name and made the vows. Or was he initiated in 1922?
I think 22. Basically.
Yeah, 22. That's went right into his heart then. Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Swami, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Prabhupada, he also had the title Prabhupada, was that he said when he saw our Prabhupada, who was just Abai at that time, Abai Babu, he was known as Abai Babu, he just got married, he was in his early 20s. So he said that you are an intelligent young man. You should preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English throughout the Western countries. This will do good for you and will do good for everyone. And those words just went straight, into Prabhupada's heart, Abai Babu's heart. And because he just got married, he couldn't physically carry that out straight away. And he had young children go to the West and all the books and everything. And that took him, as we know, until 1965 before he was actually able to go to the West. But he'd been thinking about those instructions his whole life since 1922. And he was just thinking, how can I do this? How can I do this? How can I carry it out? And preparing himself, he'd already written first canto, second canto, Bhagavatam before he left. He started in 1944, Back to Godhead magazine in 1944. He was trying to make devotees in India. It wasn't really working out, trying to sell his books there. And Krishna, one way or another, pushed him to leave India and go to the West and to take sannyas and everything like that. So yeah, it's very interesting. But the starting, when you first hear. So you have already done that. I would say you're already initiated and you are taking it to heart. You know, you are sincere. You are quite serious. So you're already following many of the instructions like that, trying your best. So don't worry about changing your name whenever that happens, or you know, wherever, however. That's just a side point, you know. Actually, that ceremony of initiation, why do we do that? You know, give someone the name and have the sacrificial fire yagya and throw the grains in there and everything. It's just to help us become more serious, because often in Kali Yuga, where Kali Yuga sort of personality, you know, we're lazy and we're and not very serious about spiritual life and everything. So to help us take it more seriously, you know, do it in a temple in front of God, in front of the deities, and the sacrificial fire, which is the mouth of Vishnu, with your guru there, and all your friends are there, all the devotees are there and everything, and you're making vows in front of God, in front of the guru, in front of the fire and everything, and you think, wow, this is so important, I have to really, you know, get it together and make sure I do this. So the idea is that it can help us to become more serious.
Yeah.
But having said that, it's not automatic, because I know for a fact there's many devotees that got initiated in that fire sacrifice, but they were slack afterwards and they weren't serious. And even they left ISKCON, left the guru, and never followed any of the principles after that. They were just there probably just to get the name, you know, could tell everyone I've got a guru and everything like that, you know, so they're real slack. And I know persons that are not initiated, I mean, haven't been initiated as of yet, but they're really serious, you know. So it's meant to help us become more serious, but it's not automatic, like I say, you know. So sometimes it's not real.
More psychologically prepare yourself, prepare people that I am getting into something which is serious, and you're
Yeah,
getting something serious which is very right. But
yeah,
so it's kind of a, yeah,
yeah,
it's yeah, as you said, it helps to
yeah,
focus basically, because it's more important now because you have gone through that process of
yeah,
initiation, so it puts more pressure on you to actually,
yeah.
so helping you basically
Yeah,
focus.
you've formalized it. You've made it more formal, and just like your wedding, right? Your wedding ceremony. You know,
Mm.
anyone boy can hang out with a girl, and you know you can look after them or not look after them or whatever like that. Have responsibility for them or not. You know, it's more flexible. But when you get married, you know, and there's a wedding, you know, it lasts 3 days or something like that. It's like, once again, the fire and everything, and all your friends are there, and all the
Mm.
parents and the gurus there and everything. Then you realize after getting married, oh my God, this is serious. Now I have to look after this woman for the rest of her life. You know, like they used to say, even the English ones,
Mm.
until death do us part. You know, that was the promise you made. You know, I'm going to look after this person until death do us part. That was in the English ones and the Christian ones. You
Yeah.
know, but the same sort of principles there. It's, oh my God, this is serious. Now I'm committing myself to this person. So like
Yeah.
that, the initiation's supposed to get into our head that this is a serious commitment. Before, I could chant 16 rounds if I felt like it, or if I didn't feel like it, then I didn't. But now I must.
Mm.
Now I'm promising I must chant 16. Oh, if I don't want to eat meat, you know, I won't. But if I want to, I will. But now I'm promising, no, I cannot eat meat. You know, so it's like that. It's just supposed to help us become more.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you gave the good example. I mean, the parallel between the ceremonies, basically make you realize what you are getting into and what you have to follow, and they're using societal pressure or whatever you call, helping you to streamline. And wedding, as you said, people,
Yeah.
it's a responsibility.
Yeah.
That's very good
But now
example.
people are so useless that they get married and they get divorced 3 months after.
Yeah, yeah.
I had one Indian family.
Mm.
And the parents came to me, they were so shocked. They'd been together their whole life, you know, for whatever, 40 years or whatever, 50 years. And they said, Oh, my daughter got married. We arranged the marriage for the daughter, and it lasted like 1 year.
Yeah.
And she would just got pregnant, and then the man divorced, and she was become a solo mother. And then with the son, it was like a love marriage. He got attracted to one girl, and his marriage lasted 1 month. So this daughter's 1 year, the son's 1 month, and they got married, and then it fell apart. So even after making the promises and everything, they're just so useless like that. So that's Kali Yuga. We're not don't have much determination and everything like that. But having said that, some people are just naturally, because of previous karma or whatever, they're more like yogis and they're more determined and everything like that, control their senses. And even without the ceremony, they're already, like that. And even like some boys and girls, even not married, but they stay together. They just naturally just stay together. They haven't had a ceremony, but they stay together their whole life. So it's not, the ceremony is not the main thing. It's meant to help us, but it doesn't guarantee. It doesn't mean, oh, I'm safe now. I got initiated. I'm safe. No, Maya can still, whack us.
Right.
So,
No, but
okay,
that's
let's get ready.
pretty good. I mean, yeah. I got the yeah. The ceremony thing is pretty. Yeah, you cleared up really. Yeah, and it's basically
Yeah,
for
so yeah, really, really, try to absorb this knowledge from Prabhupada's books, and you can definitely go back to Godhead, like what Prabhupada said. Anyone that reads my books is already initiated. So if you take the books and the knowledge very seriously, you can easily get liberated and go back to Godhead, no problem at all. And then if Krishna arranges, you might meet some guru that inspires you. And,
yeah.
we're definitely not discouraging people from getting
Yeah,
initiated. It's still, very helpful, like I said. But yeah, you don't have to think, oh, I haven't even started yet because haven't got a guru. No, you already have a guru. You've heard from Prabhupada and his followers. So there's no problem. We should be enthusiastic. We should
I think
be
that
enthusiastic,
what
right?
he taught us or what's in the book, that's more important to follow that rather than.
Yeah.
And if you have, you'll get a guru from Krishna's kripa, then you'll
Yeah,
get
yeah.
time. You don't have to go look for it. Look
No,
for.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, Krishna in our heart, when he sees that we're very serious or we might need some help, then he can arrange that some devotee comes and
Yeah.
helps us. That's all in his hands. Okay, where we're up to where it says when
The,
Lord Sri Krishna.
when Lord Sri Krishna was present on this earth, the Bhakti Yoga principle defined in Bhagavad Gita had become distorted. Therefore, the Lord had to re-establish the disciplic system beginning with Arjuna, who was the most confidential friend and devotee of the Lord. And, and the Lord clearly told Arjuna that it was because Arjuna was his devotee and friend that he could understand the principle of Bhagavad Gita. In other words, only Lord's devotee and friend can understand the Gita. This also means that only one who follows the path of Arjuna can understand Bhagavad Gita. At present moment, there are many interpreters and translators of this sublime dialogue who care nothing for Lord Krishna or Arjuna. Such interpreters explain the verses of Bhagavad Gita in their own way and postulate all sort of rubbish in the name of Gita. Such interpreters believe neither in Sri Krishna nor in his eternal abode. How then can they explain the Bhagavad Gita?
Mm. So here Prabhupada is clearly stating, and from Bhagavad Gita itself, that you can only understand this transcendental knowledge, including Bhagavad Gita, if you're a devotee of Krishna and you understand that God is my friend. God is my best friend. And that's a fact, that he's our real friend, our true friend, God. Like, for example, um, who is always with us life after life. Say we are transmigrating, reincarnating, millions of times. Is our wife going to come with us? Our kids going to come with us? Our parents, our friends, anyone going to come with us? But there's someone that comes with us. Who's that?
Krishna as Paramatma.
Yeah, Krishna is Paramatma. So he's always there to try to guide us and give us proper direction, even though we ignore him. But he's trying, and he's there as our friend and our well-wisher. And he's sanctioning our different desires. That's the only reason why we get anything at all. We desire, I want this job, I want this money, and Krishna helps us. Otherwise, we couldn't get it. We desire, I want to marry this woman, I want to have children, I want to build this house. We have a desire, but we can't do anything unless Krishna helps us. So he's fulfilling all our desires, and he's always with us, trying to give us good advice and everything, trying to guide us back to Godhead, even though we ignore him, and like that. So he's our real friend, our real well-wisher. Who's maintaining all? I was just hearing Prabhupada today. You might have a few friends, but are you the friend of everyone? Are you the friend of all the elephants in Africa? Are you the friend of all the ants and everything? He said, who's maintaining all the elephants? Who's feeding, they eat tons of food every day. Who's feeding all the elephants? Are we feeding the elephants? The ants eat a grain of sugar or whatever every day. Are you feeding all the ants? So who's feeding all the elephants, all the ants and everything? He said Krishna is, God is. So God is feeding everyone. He's maintaining everyone. Who's giving us the sunlight? Are we giving the sunlight? Are we giving the water? God is maintaining everyone. He's the real friend of everyone. So that's what a devotee is, someone that understands this, that God is my real friend. He's my true friend. So he's acting in a friendly way to us, but we should act in a friendly way to him. That's a devotee. I mean, for God is already a friend to everyone, even to the demon, the asura, even to the ignorant elephant. God is acting as a friend. But devotee means that person that realizes that God is my friend. So I should be his friend. I should become his servant and do he's doing so much service for me and everyone else. Let me do some service. Like Prabhupada said, my only question to my guru was, how can I serve you? It means we don't want anything from them. All we want to do is serve them. Like, we don't want anything from Krishna. We just want to serve Krishna. So that means we want to be his friend. We want to act in a friendly way to him. So that's what it means to be a devotee. That we love the Lord, we're serving the Lord, we see him, he's our real friend, and we want to be a friend to him. And only that person, like it's saying here, can understand the Bhagavad Gita, can understand Krishna, and be eligible to speak on Bhagavad Gita, to talk about the Bhagavad Gita. He's saying everyone else is like postulating all sorts of rubbish like that. So he's pretty heavy. Prabhupada's pretty heavy here. He's saying that most of these interpreters, they don't care about Krishna or Arjuna, and they're just saying all kinds of rubbish in the name of Gita, and they don't believe in Krishna or Vaikuntha or anything like that. So he's really hammering on them here. So the only qualified person to talk is someone that's a devotee and friend of Krishna, and that's very strongly established here.
Yeah. And I think in the first para it says, as you said, there's the disciplic succession was broken, and he restarting with Arjuna in the Mahabharata, something like that.
Yeah. And Krishna tells Arjuna why he chose Arjuna. He chose Arjuna because Arjuna was Krishna's devotee and Arjuna was Krishna's friend. So that's why he picked him. He could have picked, why didn't he pick, some, Brahmana or something like that, or a king, another king or something? No, because Arjuna loved Krishna like anything. Arjuna never forgot Krishna for a second. He was always thinking about Krishna and has so much love for Krishna. And even though it's very difficult for Arjuna, right, that he would have to kill his own nephews and cousins and his grandfather Bhishma and his guru Dronacharya, but he accepted he had to do that because of his love for Krishna. That's love, that Krishna's telling you, go and kill all your relatives. I mean, that's massive amount of love,
That's
to be
devotion. That's real
able
devotion. I mean, your devotion. I think the word devotion is more loyal and being. I mean, they understood. He understood what he's saying because
yeah,
the controller is saying something to you,
yeah,
and you're really devoted,
yeah,
and you understand he is the soul. Then, yeah, then he had to do it because then he realized that, isn't it? That
yeah,
this is all his maya or his way. We are just instrument.
yeah,
He's just going to, yeah.
yeah,
So you think you have killed him, I see, but you're actually not killing him. I have killed him. So that kind of thing, yeah. It's
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, but only the devotee can understand these things. A materialistic person's never going to be able to understand anything about this.
Yeah, they the materialistic basically are centering on everything on themselves, right? They
Yeah, yeah.
don't. So
I
they
mean,
are.
I told you before. I tried to explain just the basic things like that reincarnation and we're not the body, we're the soul. And my father had a headache. He said I couldn't sleep. So that they can't understand anything because they're envious of Krishna, which is the opposite to being a devotee and a friend. They're envious of God. They hate God and they think there is no God and they think they're God. So if you try to explain even the basic philosophy to someone like that, you just completely go over their head. It's just like, they can't understand anything.
Yeah, it's like everyone. I think it's because as you said, you don't have we don't have the capacity to understand because it's beyond the beyond your if you don't, I mean, if you don't have the understanding of Krishna and God and everything, then you're basically the, as you said, we are limited in terms of what we can understand because we have all those faults, four faults. So if you're getting that information from somebody and somebody who doesn't believe in it, it's very difficult for them
Mm,
because they cannot fathom, they cannot understand it, as you said,
mm,
because it's not what you see in everyday world or that you can experience it,
mm,
but we believe it because it's coming from God, because we have sort of realizations that there is
mm,
God. They have I mean, yeah, it's natural, I think. I
mm.
think I would have been something like that, maybe 5 6 years ago or 7 8. I didn't believe in anything, so it's like, oh, you're talking about reincarnation or what. But this information you cannot understand, you cannot, it's because it's transcendental, it's beyond this material world, I think.
Mm.
To understand this, you have to believe how it's coming from, where it's coming from. As you said, Bhagavad Gita is coming from God Himself,
Mm.
which He doesn't have those faults we have. He
Yeah.
don't. Yeah. So yeah, I can understand from your father's perspective because he had no idea. He didn't have.
Yeah, but in his case, he was definitely disqualified
Mm.
because he was envious. I mean, it's not only that, he didn't have any knowledge about it or anything like that, but he was just so anti. He's just so anti-God. He's just so
Ah,
envious. It's called dvaisa,
Dvesh.
dvaisa or namatsara. I mean, matsara or dvaisa means envy. So because of that envy in the heart, like he's a full-on asura, means there's no God. He's already decided. He's already decided there's no God, and
Mm.
so he's very envious of God and very hateful like that. So if you're like that, like I said, Paramatma's in our heart. If you hate him, he just won't let you understand anything. So it means he'll turn off any kind of understanding there. You'll never be able to see him. It's not possible. You'll never be able to understand, never be able to see. Because God's in our heart and he thinks, well, you don't love me. You don't, you hate me. okay, you'll never think about me. I'll make sure you can never understand me. You never think about me. So that's God's fairness and neutrality, that he gives you exactly what you want. If you want to find him, if you want to love him, he'll help you. If
Yeah,
you want to forget him, he'll
that's
help you. You understand?
yeah. Mm.
If you want to understand him, if you want to find him, love him, he'll help you. If you want to forget him, he'll help you. So for someone like that, then there's like a curtain goes down. There's like a curtain that goes down in front of them. And that's mentioned also in the Bhagavad Gita in the 7th chapter. There's this curtain of Maya, the curtain of Maya, and Krishna says they will never be able to see me due to this curtain of Maya. So especially if someone has hatred for God or envy of God in their heart, then this curtain of Maya just comes down and there's no way they can understand. But if someone has a little bit of Shraddha, a little bit of faith, that, oh, those Hare Krishnas, they look really happy, singing and dancing and everything like that. I'm not happy. Maybe if I chant Hare Krishna like them, maybe I can be happy. So like that, some little bit of faith, and then that qualifies you. Oh, because you have a bit of interest, you're a bit inquisitive.
Yeah.
Krishna will help you, and Krishna helps those
It'll
people.
bring things together for you. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Because it
Yeah.
said that's how bhakti starts. It's called
Mm.
Shraddha. Shraddha means faith, or Vishwas. A little bit of faith. That, oh yeah, these people look really happy, and well, they gave me this book. Maybe this book will help me to be happy like them. Maybe I should read it. So just a little bit of
Yeah.
faith that let me try this. I don't know what it's gonna work or not, but let me just have a look at it and see. Maybe it'll help me to be happy and make my life better. So a little bit of faith like that just to get started, that gets our foot in the door, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we take it from there.
That's the important part. I mean, that's foot in the door is the part where that's the difficult part. I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's where I think ISKCON is doing so great. Books and Prabhupada's book. If people read even a single book, I think probably they will. It makes you think, right? They
yeah,
will more inquisitive about things. Yeah, that's what I think the Prabhupada's books are doing, and
yeah.
obviously the devotees. It's
Mm.
great. The foot in the door is the difficult part. That's the
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Okay, let's
All right,
continue.
let's start the next one.
Krishna clearly says.
Okay, where do I put it? Krishna clearly says that only those who have lost their sense of worship, the demigods, their sense worship the demigods for paltry rewards. Ultimately,
Mm.
he advises that one give up all other ways and modes of worship and fully surrender unto him alone. In Bhagavad Gita 18.66. That's a famous verse, I think, verse.
Yeah.
Only those who clearly cleansed of all sinful reaction can have such unflinching faith in Supreme Lord. Others will continue hovering on the material platform with their paltry ways of worship and thus will be misled from the real path under the false impression that all paths lead to the same goal.
Okay, so
Mm.
Prabhupada's saying here, which is a quote from Bhagavad Gita, it's there 7:20 and 23, that people that worship the demigods have lost their sense, means they're less intelligent. It's
Mm.
not very intelligent. Why are they not very intelligent to worship the demigods? Because you're serving them, you're worshiping them. What are you getting in return? Like it's mentioned here, paltry rewards.
Mm.
Paltry means very small.
Come on.
What is an example of a paltry reward? Means when you worship a demigod, what are you getting from them? Material things. What are material things? They're temporary.
Mm.
What they're temporary, and what does it lead to? Leads to suffering. Like I might worship Ganesh for money. Okay, let's say he gives me the reward of money. Okay, what is the result of getting money? It's temporary, as you know, easy comes, easy goes. And then it can also lead to suffering, that when you have a lot of money, you're always worried about it. How do I protect it? Someone's going to take it from me. The government are going to take it, or some dacoit, some thief is going to come and steal it. I have to protect it. So you're always worried about it. And then, greedy people, can always be trying to get stuff from you and everything. Oh, can you loan me some money and everything? I'll pay it back to you. And like that. And there's so many anxieties, so many problems like that. And you get a fancy car and then someone bangs into it and then you're all stressed out. You hit your BMW or your Porsche, or someone steals it or whatever. It just creates a lot of problems, anxieties. So it means it's a very small reward. It's a temporary, you're getting a temporary benefit. You're getting a temporary benefit, and that benefit also can lead to suffering. Whereas if you worship Krishna, you get eternal blissful life forever, back to Godhead. Satchit Ananda, eternal, full knowledge, full bliss. So you can't compare. So I mean, anyone that worships the demigods for some temporary benefit is not very intelligent. And that's said by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita himself. So what is saying, what Krishna ultimately advised in Bhagavad Gita 1866 is to surrender to him. Savadama pratyajam mamikam sharanam vaja aham tvam sava papabhyo mokshayasami masuchaha. And then Prabhupada's saying here, which is what Krishna said, that only those that are cleansed of all sinful reactions can have such unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord. So that tells us that if we don't have full faith in God, why is that? It's because it's a reaction to our past sins. Because of my pap, because of my previous pap, is one of the things that pap or sin does is it prevents us from having faith in God. Because of the animals that I've killed, it hardens my heart. Because of the woman that I've exploited, illicit sex and everything, try to enjoy, it hardens my heart. Because of the gambling I've done, it hardens my heart. Because of the intoxication I've taken, it hardens my heart, makes me more ignorant. So it makes me more ignorant and takes me further away from God, and creates, lust and greed and envy and all these kind of negative sort of qualities, which is preventing us from having full faith in God. So from this here, we can see that if we don't have full faith in God, that's the reason why, is because of that part that sins. Therefore, when we've come to the spiritual master, what's the first thing he says? No more meat, no more intoxication, no more illicit sex, no more gambling. So we've got to stop committing further sins. So if we stop the sins, then that allows the faith to grow. And that's so important, that the faith, that means the attraction we have for the soul, between the soul and God, that's faith, that attraction, that conviction that by serving Krishna is going to make my life perfect. So that faith can only grow in an environment that's free from sins. So sins stop that faith from growing. So that's a very important reason why that's there in spiritual practice, is we have to stop sinning. We have to stop sinning because it's a number one stumbling block or obstacle to helping our love grow. Faith and love is very similar. So what love is really the full development of faith. It says that in the beginning of the process of bhakti is called shraddha, and the final point of bhakti is called prema. So it's said that the development from up to prema is really just more shraddha, more shraddha, more shraddha, more shraddha, and then full shraddha, full faith, then is called prema. That's love. You have so much like that. So, but for that to happen, like I said, it needs to be in an environment without committing further sins. Of course, Krishna says there in that verse 1866 that if you surrender to him, he'll clear out all the sins. So it means all the previous sins, before we had this knowledge that we've done so many bad things, then Krishna wipes that out. So you got a clean slate. But then when you start the process, then don't commit any new ones. So he'll take care of the old ones, and we've got to make sure that's our part, is don't commit any further like that.
That's nice.
Okay. Okay, I've got a couple more minutes.
Yeah. In this mantra of Sri Isopanisad, the word Sambhavat, by worship of the Supreme Cause, is very significant. Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and everything that exists has emanated from him. In Bhagavad Gita 10.8, the Lord says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mat sarvam pravartet iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhav samanvita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their heart.
So this is our good fortune once we come to the Vedic culture and the Guru, that straight away we're given the prayojana. Prayojana means the goal. Yeah. In the Vedas is divided up into 3 different areas of knowledge. There's Sambandha, means the relationship, and then Abhidaya means the process, and then Prayojana means the goal. So very important in any kind of situation, you need to understand relationships, and then have a process, and then a goal. And the process helps you to achieve your goal. But you first of all need to understand, who am I and who am I dealing with? What's the relationship like that? So all these things are necessary, but very important to have a goal. Here's the supreme cause. So the supreme cause, the absolute truth, the ultimate reality, the cause of all causes, Sarva Karana Karanam. And that's given to us as Krishna. So Krishna is the supreme cause, and he's saying that there, 10.8 in the Bhagavad Gita, he himself says that he is the supreme cause. Devotees also say that, like Lord Brahma, the first being in the universe, says, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That Govinda, he's the Adi Purusha, he's the first person, he's the original person. So Lord Shiva says the same thing. Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Nimbakacharya, Vishnu Swami, all the Narada Muni, Asitala, Devala, Vyasadeva, all the great personalities, they all say that Krishna is the supreme cause. So we should accept that, we should have faith in that, and we should just worship the supreme. People with a poor fund of knowledge, they haven't heard from the Vedas, so they think that some demigod is the supreme, or some ghost, or some politician or whatever is very powerful, or whatever, or nature, Mother Nature, or whatever like that. They worship, like many primitive people, like Aborigines and things like that. They worship nature. Which we say is the Prakriti, is the female, the Mother Nature. They worship Mother Nature, but they don't understand that, above Mother Nature is the Father, like that. So if people have less knowledge, then they may worship someone that's not the Supreme. But in the Vedas, we're straight away, like when the first day I met the Hare Krishnas, they tell me that Krishna is the Supreme, and then it's clear, there's no doubts anymore, and then we just follow the process like that.
Yeah.
You want to say anything?
Yeah, no, that's so true. I mean, basically, I mean, we need to know how to live in this world. That's where, that's what is our prayojana, is to basically live in a particular way, follow something, so that you can achieve the prayojana of this life, the human life. And yeah, and the example you also gave of, people who are um, worshipping mother nature, they are at a level probably a bit lower, because they haven't understood. They don't have that kind of facility to, they don't have Bhagavad Gita or Vedant or something. So as such, a 400,000 human species, they are at a different level. Probably they are at a stage where they probably is at, they can just understand Prakriti or material nature, but still they have some kind of a faith
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like,
It's still good because they're worshiping something higher than
yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
If you're a complete atheist and you don't respect anyone else other than yourself, then that's the lowest, But even if you're offering respect to the mountains and the forests and everything, that's still, at least you're starting to understand there's some
Yeah.
higher authority and everything. Or you worship Indra or Surya or something. At least you're accepting there's someone higher than me. So that's a bit of humility there developing and like that. So that's still good. But the best is to go right to the top. That's the best. And people will naturally argue, but I mean, you say Krishna is the supreme, but that's just your belief. That's
Mm.
just your belief. That's just your faith. Okay, and we say that, well, but just try the process, and then you'll know,
Mm.
what is the result at the end of it. So okay, you say, you can't prove that Krishna's God or whatever like that, but you follow the process and then you'll prove it to yourself. Just like if you make the experiment in the laboratory, you mix the acid and the alkaline together, then you'll see it for yourself, the reaction. You'll see the explosion or whatever like that. You'll see it for yourself. In the beginning, everyone has faith that, you haven't seen it. You haven't seen the result, before you've tried it. So you just believe what someone's saying. You mix this with this and then you're going to get that. So you just heard from them, but you don't know for a fact until you've tried it yourself. So what we say, okay, just put aside, all your doubts for now, and just try to follow the process, and then you find out for yourself, make the experiment, and you'll get the result. And we had that result, that okay, they told us to stop eating meat and having illicit sex and that, and told us to chant 16 rounds Hare Krishna, told us to get up early in the morning. So we followed that process, and what was the result? Yeah, we became happier. We
Mm.
became more peaceful. We actually had some situations in our life where we've had direct experience of divine, of something very wonderful, very divine. I've had some amazing experiences through chanting and that I've gone to different places beyond this normal, mental realm and everything like that. So, and then that's given me so much faith that, yeah, it's true. This is actually true what the Vedas is saying. And that devotees experience themselves. It's what we get called realization, vigyan. That you have the gyan, the theoretical knowledge, and you put it into practice, and you get vigyan. You get, after, when you apply it, then you get realization, and then your faith is like, becomes very strong. And even people might argue and try to break your faith or whatever, but it's impossible. It becomes like a mountain, becomes very strong.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, yeah,
And that's science. This is the spiritual
that's
science.
science. You experiment it yourself, and then you realize. That's
Yeah.
as simple as that. But yeah, that's true. But it's, since it's not very, what do you call that? It's not very tangible. You have to experience yourself.
Yeah.
Not
I
visible by.
mean, we should have faith in it, at least, also because so many great people are saying,
Mm,
look,
mm.
Krishna's the top man. I mean, it's not just some Tom, Dick, and Harry. This is like Lord Brahma, the first being in the universe. Lord Shiva is saying it. You know, like I said, Narada Muni, Vyasadeva, Shukadeva Goswami, you know, all these great Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, these are all pure beings. You know, they don't eat meat, they don't drink, they don't cheat. You know, they're just such pure beings, you know, such high, and they're all saying the same thing. Krishna is the supreme cause. So, I mean, if we did have a brain, you know, we should just accept what they say. But what I'm saying is, you know, there's so much evidence to direct us that Krishna is the supreme. But even apart from that, you make the experiment yourself, you put it to the test, and you will get a result. You'll definitely get some kind of result, whether it's positive or negative or whatever. But you'll definitely get it, and then you see for yourself. But if we were sensible, we should just accept what all those, because you've got like thousands of great authorities saying the same thing. You know, if we had, you know, like, which is better? That when you're a kid, your parents say, my dear son Narendra, don't touch the hot stove. You know, if we had a brain, you know, we would just, well, okay, my parents, they know what's right and wrong, and they love me and everything, and they're my well-wishers. I'll just do what they tell me to do, and I won't touch it. But if we're not so intelligent, oh, no, I don't believe that, and then just touch it, you know, and you get burnt. You know, and after you've made the experiment and you burn yourself, then you're never going to touch it again. But that's second class, you know, second class intelligent. First class intelligent, just by hearing from your authority, like in this case, your mum and dad, they say, don't touch that. Then, you know, you just say, okay, they've told me not to touch it, I won't touch it. But if we're not so intelligent, then we have to make an experiment. You know, and then realize that way. So the same thing.
That's the other way. Yeah. That's, I think it's too late for you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Nice to spend some time with you again. Okay, have a nice week.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, you too have